Johnson heads to the bucket. Layup. Johnson, good.
All right, welcome everyone. Talking sports with me, Chris Powers. Jonathan's in the house. Marty's in the house. We've got Alan in the house as well. Today we're going to talk Saban, Trump, and NIL. We'll also talk about LSU picking up a big safety and all kind of other sports going on, including LSU softball, Southern baseball, NFL schedule, Greg Popovich, the NBA, and University of Florida with a big announcement, and then the Saints and Derek Carr's situation. But we start with LSU and NCAA baseball. You know, for the last few years, since 2010 and 2011 is the last time we've had a double back-to-back national champion in South Carolina. So every year has been a different champion every single season since then. So you look at, it was the 11th season, so you look at 13 seasons have been gone so far because they won it in 2012. So it's been crazy that this has happened this way. And more than ever now, there's not a clear favorite in college baseball. There's not. Not at all. The number one team in the nation, the Texas Longhorns, got swept this week by the Arkansas Razorbacks, who, by the way, are coming into Alex Box Stadium this week. LSU had an opportunity to get closer to Texas in the SEC and in the polls, and they went to Texas A&M and blew it. Blew it. Unbelievable. Georgia stepping up. They're starting to hit on all cylinders at the right time. They swept Missouri, but they still swept Missouri, and they're moving up. They're tied with LSU now for third in the SEC. Arkansas is second. In the polls, Texas is still the number one team in the nation. Now, it's going to be the team who gets hot at the very end who wins it, and that's usually the case. If you can remember a couple of years ago in the NCAA, in 2022 season, Tennessee was dominant all year long. And they get to their super regional, they host their super regional, and they got beat by Notre Dame. In 23, LSU was number one, dominant all season long until May. And the early part of May, when they got beat by Auburn, they lost to number one in the poll to Wake Forest, who was number one the rest of the way. Then in the College World Series, Wake Forest plays LSU in a winner's bracket. Wake Forest beats LSU. Then LSU has to win another game, and then LSU comes back and beats Wake Forest two more times to go to the College World Series National Championship matchup with the University of Florida. And then last year, Tennessee was ranked 22nd in June. They were ranked 22nd in June. And they got hot at the end and eventually beat Texas A&M, even though A&M won the first game in the College World Series final three games, and then Tennessee won the last two to win the national championship. But they were not favored to win at all. This year, it's the same situation, and LSU is just not where I thought they would be at this time of the year. They're not where they need to be at all right now. LSU lost to Texas A&M, who is 10-14 in the SEC. Third to last in the conference. In game one, LSU lost 3-1. The Tigers won the stat sheet. They had 8 hits, but scored 1 run. Their timely hits are not there. A&M A&M had 6 hits and took the lead in the 7th by scoring 2 runs, won it 2-1. Game 2, LSU won that by that score 2-1 with 6 hits, and A&M had only 3 in a masterful game by LSU's pitcher Edwinson. He pitched his first complete game and had 14 strikeouts with 1 base on ball. LSU then lost on Sunday, leading most of the game as Texas A&M scored 4 runs thanks to a 3-run homer by Sorrell to win it 6-4. For the second week in a row, this team is just having trouble hitting and especially timely hitting as well. They're having problems with that. Last week versus Tennessee on Friday, remember they didn't hit their first hit until the 6th inning. Then the second game, they didn't hit their first hit till the 5th inning. They ended up winning that game, but still, and they won the series. What's weird about it is Jay Johnson is still playing with the batting order with just 6 games left in the SEC play. They got a game supposedly tonight against Grambling, depending on, and we're taping this show on a Tuesday, it's pouring down raining outside. So depending on if the rain gets away, they'll play tonight in their last midweek game against the Grambling State Tigers tonight. Jared Jones kind of shocked me a little bit. And Jonathan, you know what shocked me? And look, you're a big fan of Jay Johnson. I'm a big fan of Jay Johnson. I think he's the right coach and all that, and he's a smart guy. Why in the hell would you put Jared Jones as your leadoff hitter on Sunday? Jared Jones is a home run hitter. So what home run hitters do is they tend to pop up a lot or strike out a lot. Jared Jones leads the LSU baseball team in strikeouts. And he's not a fast runner. You want a guy that's going to get on base and is going to steal second and also maybe steal third. Why would you put a big monster like Jared Johnson as your leadoff hitter? And again, I don't question a lot of Jay Johnson, but that is a real – were you shocked by that? And he was 0 for 4 in that game on Sunday, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I was shocked by it. We've seen Anthony Rizzo in the professional league, Major League Baseball, go for the Cubs and the Yankees, and they'll put him at leadoff spot when he gets into a slump a little bit because you see more fastballs at the leadoff. The pitcher's still trying to get warmed up, still trying to find his release point. Might make a mistake, might give something to feast on really early in the game, give your team a big pop right to start the game off. So I wasn't shocked by that, but inconsistencies from the offense is something that we really weren't expecting this season from LSU. They started off the season so hot, scoring 14 runs a game, it seemed like, hitting the ball up and down the lineup. Stanfield started at the very top, ended up at the very bottom. And he was good for LSU. Derek Curriell's been a table setter the entire season for LSU, and he struggled versus A&M. A&M is a good baseball team. Yes, they had a horrible start in the SEC, but just a month ago, April 17th, they had a series at home against Arkansas, and Arkansas was at home, and Texas A&M went in there and beat them 2 out of 3 games. So very talented team. I thought that LSU, poor Anthony Ianson, I mean, talk about a performance, 14 strikeouts. Went the distance in a 1-run ball game. Was an absolute battler out there. Deserved the win after that, long doubleheader after getting rained out on Friday. So a very long day of baseball. I give credit to LSU if they're coming back from losing that early morning game where it really started at 2 o'clock. But the first game of the day, then coming back and battling in a 1-run game on the road. You got to tip your hat to Ianson. He deserved the series win. LSU had the game in the bag. They give up 4 runs right there at the end, second to last inning. Couldn't get an out. Bullpen kind of let him down. I thought Chase Shorts came in, did a really good job. There's been a lot of question marks about Chase Shorts and is able to control the strike zone, but I think he caught out and had pretty electric stuff, didn't walk too many guys. And LSU was right there at the end, had a 2-run lead and just gave it up. And, look, depending on where you do your shopping with the polls, D1 Baseball has LSU number 3, and he has Arkansas number 6. And now Arkansas goes and sweeps Texas, and in a perfect game, they have Arkansas number 3 and LSU number 6. So SEC is so tough, Chris. Week in and week out, you play a juggernaut of a team. Home field advantage is huge. It's tough in Baton Rouge when you have rain delays, and it just came through that actually with the inclement weather coming through that they're going to cancel this midweek game against Grambling. So that's no more midweek games for LSU.
Right.
Just 2 SEC series, and they're looking at the postseason. So not a time to falter. Got to get your confidence back at the plate and try to score some runs.
Are you kind of shocked right now that Coach Johnson is still moving the batting order and the fielding order around?
I wouldn't say shocked. Coach Jay Johnson, not afraid to tinker with lineups. He has a pretty good pulse on the team. He talks to these players daily. He's in the cage with them, throwing batting practice to them so he can see it firsthand. He knows who's hot that day. He can make a change right before the game. And these players, they know how Coach Jay Johnson is. It's not like going to affect their confidence if you get bumped down a couple spots. This team is a semi-pro team. All these guys have a chance to go to the pros, so you can't take it as an insult that you get bumped down in a lineup that's putting up so many runs. Very prolific. I'm not shocked by it because it's been Coach Jay Johnson's MO. He'll take it with it right up until the second game of Super Regional. He'll do what he has to do, pinch hit, whatever he thinks is the best matchup. Look, big analytics guy, Coach Jay Johnson. Attention to detail doesn't even begin to describe the amount of work he puts in each and every day to his opponent. So I'm not worried. I have faith in Coach Jay Johnson. I think he's the best coach in college baseball. I've said that many times before on this show, and I'll keep in the faith now. Yeah,
I love him to death. There's no question. I'm not going to, think that he's bad or anything like that. But number 1 recruiting class, number 1 portal class on the season. I thought they'd be a little bit further along right now. I really did. I really was shocked. I thought after they beat Tennessee, they got their mojo back, and then to go back and then struggle again against A&M and timely hittings mainly. Timely hittings is just not there. They've got to get it going. Like I said, Coach Johnson is going to figure it out. There's no question about that. But if they're struggling in the SEC, there's going to be a lot of teams in the SEC in regionals, and you could face one of them in a regional. Maybe not. Super regional, probably. There's a good chance you'll face, because they try not to make it so many of one conference in the College World Series. So at one point, you're probably going to play an SEC team in a super regional. You got to beat them.
Yeah.
You got to beat them 2 out of 3. SEC is 7th in batting order right now in SEC play.
Yeah.
And that's not 260. They're only batting 267 in the SEC.
Yeah.
So they've got to figure that out. They scored 143 runs and 215 hits. Arkansas coming in this weekend. We saw what they did. They swept Texas this week.
That was huge.
I mean, LSU. LSU drops to 9th in the RPI rankings. They were 8th after their Tennessee deal. Then they moved back to 9th. Then they moved back to 8th. So they're back and forth with 8 and 9 right now. And as we mentioned, top 8 seeds get a super regional. So we'll see what happens. As you mentioned, they're number 3 in the ESPN and D1 baseball poll. They're number 6 in Baseball America. You say you're not concerned at all about this team right now. I mean, like I said, it's the team gets hot at the end.
Right.
And it's been that way,
Yeah.
13, 14 seasons now?
Yeah. No, I'm not concerned. I mean, look at LSU's SEC schedule. Look, 15-9 in conference. Arkansas 17-7. So 2 wins. I mean, you could pick 2 hands off the top of your head that LSU should have had in the conference and just gave away at the end. So I'm not concerned. This team is too talented, top to bottom in the lineup, and all the arms at the bullpen. You got to be more consistent, but I think they'll get dialed in. Look, those rosters change when it gets to the postseason. You don't play everybody. You play your best guys. And I think that Coach Jay Johnson, Coach Nate Yeski have done a great job with the bullpen, seeing who's going to come in, struggle at times, succeed at times, put them in a lot of different spots, facing a lot of different hitters. It's not always lefty on lefty. They let them face the top hitters. And, look, they know what they're playing for. Their goals are still out in front of them. They'll get into the SEC tournament, hopefully make some noise, and then carry right on over to that road to Omaha. And it's Omaha or bust for these Jay Johnson teams. I mean, they're so talented. You mentioned the recruiting class and the transfer portal and all the resources that are put into baseball and the crowd support, the fan support. So, yeah, it's Omaha or bust for this team. Too talented not to make it, and I do believe they'll be there. I believe, no doubt, after watching that Tennessee series, they're one of the top 8 teams in the country. It's just very difficult to do it weekend in and weekend out in the SEC.
Yeah, and again, you could have all but 2 teams in the College World Series that are SEC teams.
Right.
I mean, that's how dominant the SEC is this year in college baseball. But again, they're going to pair up some for super regionals. Maybe not for regionals, but for super regionals, you're going to see a lot of SEC teams playing each other to knock some of those out. That's how the NCAA committee likes to do in both basketball and baseball. They don't want to have all 4 teams in the Final Four from the SEC like it could have happened this year. So they want to be able to knock those out and kind of equal it out a little bit, and that's what's going to happen. You're going to see a lot of SEC teams in the super regionals. I hope that LSU, because they're a better home team, obviously, than road team, I hope LSU is in that top 8 when it all comes down. And, folks, we got 2 SEC series left, so 6 games total left. That's it. We're done. And we're into the SEC championship tournament, and it is a single elimination tournament with 16 teams going in. It's not this win 1 and then you go lose 2 after that, then lose 1 again. No, it's single elimination. You lose, you're done. You're gone. And that might help propel LSU, like you mentioned, to be in that final 8 RPI rankings, which we need definitely to be. What does Nick Saban, President Trump, and NIL have to do in common? We'll talk about that when we come back, as we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, Jonathan in the house, and Marty in the house as well, and Alan's in the house today too. We'll talk about that coming up right after this timeout on Talking Sports with Chris Powers right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, Having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadia and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars. All right, welcome back, everybody, as we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers. And last week, Nick Saban addressed the college graduates at the University of Alabama. And after that was President Trump. Not a commencement speech, but a speech to basically talk to them. Both of them talked basically about how never give up and always do this and do that and what have you to succeed and what have you. Start at an early age, rather, and go from there. But before that, Nick Saban talked to President Trump about the NIL and the problems. Now, remember, a year ago when Nick Saban retired, I told you the reason why he was retiring, because of NIL and transfer portal, but mainly for the NIL. He knew that Alabama would not be able to compete with NIL with the big boys, the Ohio States, the Texas, and the Texas A&Ms, and even LSU's, because there's no Fortune 500 company in the state of Alabama, and there's no billionaire in the state of Alabama. They have to get their resources from other places. And then, and I'm telling you, say, for instance, you're a billionaire or a millionaire. Let's say you're a millionaire and you got the academic side's asking you to donate and the athletic side's asking you to donate. Well, if you're a big athletic fan, you're going to donate to the athletic program. And sorry, I donated to the athletic program. I can't give to the academic side. It's not going to work. I mean, this is getting out of hand. And for those schools that have big endowments like Ohio State, Yale, and Texas and Texas A&M, they have big endowments, which means they take that money and they can put it wherever they want to. They don't need to get – I mean, they still get donors, that give millions of dollars to the school, but they got big endowments to where they can pay and fix the academic problems, buildings and what have you, where the athletics stand on their own. LSU's endowment is just a little over $1 million. Those guys are in $30 and $40 million range that I just talked about. They're not even close to – LSU's not even close to that. So they need all the money they can get. So does Alabama. And so Nick Saban talked to him about the NIL and how it's ruining college sports. And the transfer portal is not helping either. But first it's NIL with Nick Saban. I said that was the reason why he left Alabama, and everybody says the same thing. And then Nick Saban says no, but then at the same time, you've heard him since he's retired keep talking. He addressed Congress about NIL, and now he talks about the President Trump about NIL. So Trump says he wants to sign an executive order to be able to fix NIL. So what would that be, though? A cap? And also, if you're going to get money, you become an employee of the school, you get money, you need to sign a contract then. That if we give you $10 million like they gave Underwood in Michigan, you got to sign for a 3-year deal. You got to sign for 3 years. You can't transfer anywhere. You have to have a 3-year contract. Also bring back in, you have to sit out a year if you're going to transfer. That needs to come back too. That really does. But the only problem with Trump signing the executive order, so many federal judges are Democrats, they can't stand Trump. And they will overrule him, which is horrible. I don't give a hell who's president of the United States. No federal judge should be able to overrule a president. That's where this system is really messed up. And because there's a lot of Democratic judges, they're overruling everything President Trump does. Last I checked, he's supposed to be the most powerful person in the United States. He is the executor of the United States, the CEO. not a federal judge in Hawaii, not a federal judge in Ohio or wherever else the hell. I don't care if you like Trump. Same thing I saw with Biden. Nobody should overrule Biden. He is the president of the United States. No federal judge should have that opportunity to do that. That's as most as you'll hear me talk about politics on this show. Well, according to 24/7, and it goes back to the reason I say a federal judge will overrule it, they'll overrule it, and then because you have a player that's going to file a lawsuit against the federal government with NIL. Well, according to 24/7 Sports, Alabama ranks 7th with $15.9 million as far as football. Just football. To pay athletes, they have $15.9 million. Again, I'm not shocked by this. I'm shocked they have $15.9 million because, again, that's going to hurt. They won't be able to redo anything as far as stadium, resources as far as locker rooms or anything. That whole 15.9 is going to get the best players in the country, and they rank 7th. Michigan is 6th. Texas A&M is 5th at $17.2 million. Georgia is 4th at $18.3 million. Notice I haven't brought up LSU yet because they're right now at 3rd. They can spend $20.1 million in football. Ohio State is 2nd with $20.2 million. And number 1, right at $2 million, is Texas Longhorns, number 1 at $22.2 million. So the Kirk Herbstreits, you wanted it, now you've got it. Now you're griping about it. And what I agree with what Herbstreit said is that NIL, name, image, likeness, is supposed to go to that player that's representing Raising Cane's, that's representing Gordon McKernan, or whoever, any kind of business. But it's changed. That is done. They're not doing it now. That should be illegal what they're doing. Them getting Bryce Underwood to go to Michigan, it should have been illegal. That was by a girl, a young lady who graduated from Michigan, dating her sugar daddy, and she begged her sugar daddy to give her money to give to the University of Michigan for Bryce Underwood to go there at quarterback. That's how that happened. Along with Barstool Sports thrown in some money, but this big millionaire threw in $10 million, and that did it. That's why Bryce Underwood went to Michigan. And that's not what this is made to be. And that needs to change. It needs to be when you are sponsoring Apple, you're sponsoring Pepsi or Coke or whatever, Budweiser beer, whatever, but not by some alumni or booster giving you money. That's not what NIL is supposed to be about. But you knew that was going to happen. And even if they come up with a cap, you know these schools are still going to cheat. You know they are. So that's not going to help. There needs to be contracts. There needs to also be caps on the players. Because last I checked, it's a team sport. No player should make $13 million, and there's some players on this team, like a tight end, that don't make any money. But he's still a good player, and he's still an important part of the football team. They should make money as well. So this is just not going the way it all set out to be. Like I said, NIL and the NCAA is so out of it right now, it's not even funny. It really is not even funny. We'll talk more about LSU in just a moment. But, Jonathan, I don't know if you agree or not, my man, but with LSU being 3rd at $20.1 million, I think that's huge. But at the same time, I don't think any team should be paying that much money for athletes in just football. Just football.
Yeah, and it's tough, Chris, because these programs are making hundreds of millions of dollars, TV contracts, gates from the game,
which should go back to the university.
And no doubt that academics is the reason that these schools exist. Yeah, football is great, and everybody gets behind it. It's a great reason for you to raise money and truly give your spotlight to your school. And it's great to compete and win championships. And you learn a lot of things playing sports that you can't learn in the classroom. How to work as a team, how to overcome difficulty, self-discipline. You go through the gauntlet. But, yeah, $20 million for a football team that has 9 wins in a regular season is just kind of embarrassing, Chris. There needs to be something done. Unfortunately, Trump is getting involved. And it's unfortunate because even if it was a perfect plan and everything was solved, half the country would absolutely hate it, and half the country would follow it blindly. And that's just – it's really sports is like the one place you go to escape all the political talk and people that really don't want to hear it. That's where they truly do run and escape, just lose themselves in their team, in their schools, in their players. But yeah, there has to be some sort of incentive deal that if you transfer or if you don't play, you give the money back. Some type of revenue sharing, some type of cap, some type of real legitimate market for these transfer portal players to know exactly how much money they're going to receive if they enter the transfer portal, and stop all these underhand background social media deals. We find out, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, he was getting $10 million in a brown bag from some girl who dated a billionaire. Yeah, it's broken right now.
Yeah.
I have no problem with the players getting paid. My biggest thing with the NIL was thank you they were bringing college football on the PlayStation back. The video game, let me have the real rosters. That was all I was worried about. Now this can of worms have been unleashed. People are making $2-3 million and not even playing a down that season. Disgusting. And truly, the value of money is something that you also need to learn in school and definitely in college. And unfortunately for these now 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, they're just getting these bags of money thrown at them. And as soon as they get hurt, as soon as they can't play anymore, what do they do? Where do they go? They've given their lives to the sport, and unfortunately, they'll have nothing to fall back on.
NFL execs are already seeing it, and they're like, oh, my God, y'all are ruining this. Because now you're getting these athletes that got these attitudes that are just already. Shedeur Sanders is one. More stories are coming out about Shedeur Sanders and how he basically just absolutely trashed every interview he did for NFL teams. He did it for the New York Giants. They looked at him. He was unprepared. It's basically, no, you got to get your stuff together to get me. And I'm like, are you kidding? And that really, I think the best thing that guy's going to ever do in his career is make a roster, make the Cleveland Browns roster. That's the best thing he's going to do. I think his attitude is just horrible, and I just don't think he's that good of a quarterback. Now, he can change it, but he doesn't have a rock-solid arm. We talked about that last week, but it's coming out to where now those guys have already made money, so you're almost dealing with another professional athlete. And again, as like I mentioned, I think they should get some money. I do. But these $10 million, Bryce Underwood, $13 million is absolutely ridiculous and stupid. And I think last I checked, everybody has a big part of the football team. Everybody. How much did Mason Taylor make at LSU this year? I bet it was nothing near what a lot of these players are making. Nussmeier, I think, is 5th or 6th in total college athletics as far as bringing in NIL money. Right now, not Eli Manning.
Arch.
Arch is number 1 at doing that, and I'm just, like I said, I just think it's crazy. And Arch hadn't even played. I mean, he's played a few downs because he's come in for Ewers, who was hurt. But man, I just think it's gotten out of hand. I do think these players should get money, and I like that. But as far as getting the big money, I think any extra money that they get should go to what that's going to. There's not a pro league. It's a college amateur league, and that's what should be happening. And I think that's ridiculous. And I've always known of it as extracurricular activities. And high school's now starting to get NIL deals. High school. I'm telling you, the more money that comes into this, the more corrupt it's going to get. The more corrupt. Look at the NBA. Look at how the NBA, how the players are and how their attitudes are. It's horrible. And it's going that way. It's starting to flow over into other sports because of the playing time. Oh, I'm not playing. Where it used to be Tony Dorsett, who didn't make as much money as they are now, had concussions, and he still played in the ball game. You never missed a game. Now it's like, no, it's all right. I'm making so much money, I don't need to play. I'm Kawhi Leonard. I could miss half the season and come back in the playoffs. My goodness gracious, I can't stand that and I hate that big time. I don't like they're making that much money. Nick Saban didn't like it, called us old-fashioned. But Nick Saban, that's why, again, he griped about it to Congress. He griped about it to the President of the United States. It's getting out of hand, and it needs to be done. It needs to be fixed. And if it's not fixed, there's a lot of older crowd. They did a recent poll. A lot of older season ticket holders across the nation of college football are done. And they're not just done from watching it on TV. I mean, they're not buying season tickets anymore. They're done. They cannot stand the direction of college sports is going right now. And the older crowd, the older people like me, I guess, are going to say we've had enough. We're not doing this anymore. This is absolutely not what we signed up for. It's not the purity of the sport that we thought it was back in the day. And, at least you can hide it well. But anyway, I don't know. And some people may not like it. Some people may just say whatever. No, we like it or what have you. The younger crowd seems to be liking it. But again, you're wondering to know, are you good with this? Are you good with the continuation of the big wigs like Texas, and if they continue to get more money and more money and more money, and by next year they're $10 million over everybody else? You happy because it's oil money? Are you happy with that? No, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be. Now Texas hasn't won, or A&M. Both of them has had the most money that people say. And Ohio State finally won a national championship this year. But notice that Texas hadn't won a national championship in anything hardly in a long time. Baseball, basketball, football. Same thing with A&M. They've never won. Their track and field used to be number one for them. I think they've dropped even since then. But A&M used to be big, and no, they never were huge in winning national championships. But it'll be interesting to see what happens, man. It will be interesting to see what happens. When we come back, LSU picks up a big safety with a transfer portal. We'll talk about that coming up. And how did they sign him? I thought the transfer portal was over. We'll explain that coming up right after we talk in sports with Chris Powers and Jonathan and Marty in the house right here on Pelican Sports TV.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Talking sports with me, Chris Powers, Jonathan in the house, as well as Mr. Marty and Alan in the house. Jonathan, you do a show every single week. Tell us when your shows are, my man.
Tigers Roar, that's right. Wednesday night, 8 o'clock is the premiere. It gets replayed, through the weekend. Me and Buddy Sanji, of course, we're also there on the YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. If you go and download the Pelican app, they have it at the App Store or Google Play, wherever you shop for those apps on the smartphones. You get the radio and the TV stream. It's free to sign up. All you need is an email and a password. So go check us out on YouTube. Once again, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. And also search for our app at Pelican Broadcasting.
There you go. And it's a good show, no question about that. Buddy's been around a long, long time, followed LSU a long, long time. So I know he's happy this week that LSU signed a big safety this week, and that is number one safety in the transfer portal, and A.J. Hawley. He's from Houston, 6 foot, 215-pounder, got 74 tackles, 5 interceptions, and 13 pass breakups last year for the University of Houston. In the spring, you could see where that was the weakest link on LSU's defense was their safeties. He's going to play next to Marcus Cooley from North Carolina State, will also be with him. The only thing that bothers me about Cooley, it's his third school in his career, LSU. He started.
Mercenary.
What's that?
He's a mercenary.
Yeah, and he's very good. And so with Cooley and Hawley back-to-back like that next to each other, I think that's going to be great. Now, a lot of people want to know, the first thing that they asked me, somebody asked me that this morning over the phone, a friend of mine, I thought the transfer portal was over. Well, the transfer portal can change a few things that you can get away with. If it's a coaching change, which just wasn't the case. If it's graduate transfers, again, this wasn't the case. Hawley is a junior. Paperwork delays, I guess that's it, or other. Those are the 4 ways that you can get into the transfer portal after the portal deadline is closed. I'm glad he's coming to LSU. Don't get me wrong. I am super happy with this. But, boy, just think if that was in Alabama that got a big-time safety and a number 1 safety and all that stuff. Would we be happy right now? Because the transfer portal should be over. That's why, Jonathan, I don't know about you, but that's why I like the National Football League. Hence the name. It's so weird that there's a lot of people that don't like Goodell because he's judge, executioner, and everything else. Okay? But the problem is the NFL is so structured that in the other sport, and the other sports don't catch up to it. That gets me. No other sport catches up to it. Because what I'm talking about is, say, for instance, the NFL, when the trade deadline is in October, the trade deadline is the trade deadline. You can't get any other player after that. After it's over. Major League Baseball, okay, the trade deadline passes, and Major League Baseball, getting close to October, when it's time to start playing, these playoffs and what have you, all the Yankees buy out a contract by this all-star third baseman. No! The trade deadline is over. You shouldn't be able to get another player from another team. That's what I love about the NFL. NBA is the same way. They have the trade deadline right in January, but yet all of a sudden somebody can make a trade, and wait a minute. Why did that? Because he's only played 2 years. Oh, my goodness gracious. The NFL does not do that at all. They don't break protocol. That's it. They don't break protocol. So in this situation, the transfer portals are December the 4th through January the 2nd. That's for the fall. And in the spring, they're April 16th through April 25th. That's it. After April 25th, you shouldn't be able to transfer. You're done. Now, I'm not going to be complaining that A.J. Hawley, the number 1 safety in the country, is coming to us. But in the same way, again, what if Alabama, what if Texas, or what if A&M would have gotten a transfer portal like this? We'd be ticked off right now. We'd be pretty ticked off. And I think that now with this, Jonathan, now being LSU being the number 1 transfer portal in the country, the pressure's on Brian Kelly. If Brian Kelly don't make the playoffs and go deep into the playoffs, you thought the Hounds were bad this past season? Wait till this season when if he doesn't go far in the playoffs, if he loses the first game of the playoffs, he'll never hear the end of it. Do you agree?
Yeah, I completely agree, Chris. And look, going to the spring, LSU had 2 question marks: the offensive line and defensive secondary. And I think bringing in A.J. Halsey really solidifies that safety spot. Guy's played a lot of football. He's quick on the ball. He's big. He's 6'1", 6'2", 215. Makes good tackles, and he can track the ball well in the air. He's going to fit in perfectly for the LSU Tigers playing safety. And you got to be happy as an LSU Tiger fan that you got him. And to your second point, Chris, who can even keep track of the windows, the portals? You're open this day, you're closed next week, but it'll reopen 3 weeks from now. It's impossible to even – then there's loopholes, like you just said. If the window is closed, this guy has it. Whatever excuse is able to transfer. I'm glad he's coming to LSU. He's going to fit in well nicely. And now the biggest question mark is going to be that offensive line. This defense is going to be special for LSU. They'll be able to get after the quarterback. They'll be able to fly sideline to sideline, make tackles at all 3 levels, and they're going to hold some people to very low scores. So you would think with Garrett Nussmeier upright, LSU will be able to win a whole lot of games, but it all comes down to that Week 1 matchup in Clemson against the other Tigers. And if LSU does lose that game, be 5 in a row, you lose Week 1. It's not all BK, but the majority would be on BK, and his seat would be hotter than he's ever felt before. Now, he thought people complained up at Notre Dame. You don't know how bad it can get in Baton Rouge, but you can find out real quick. And he thought that he felt the pressure a little bit last year, and that's why he had all this aggressive dealings in the transfer portal and getting in guys to compete right now, because it's boom or bust. This is the season, year 4 for LSU Brian Kelly. He's got to get something done, got to make a run for the playoff, can't get that 10th one in a meaningless bowl game. This is the year to prove he can do it.
Right. And we went, it was weird. Guess who I ran into yesterday? Running back Darius Geis.
Wow.
And, he obviously played 2 years with Miles and 2 years with Ogeron, or 1 year with Ogeron. And, I talked to him, and he goes, yeah, the only problem we just got tired of losing our first games. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Miles? Oh, towards the end of Miles' career. Because the beginning of Miles' career, remember, they were beating everybody in the first game. They were beating Oregons. They were beating all those teams in the first game of the season. And they played them in Texas, and they played them all over the place, and LSU was winning.
Bay.
But then towards the end, yeah, they were losing. And as you mentioned, we've lost 5 in a row, 5 home openers in a row now?
Yep.
And obviously that's got to change, and that's something that we're not used to. And when he said that, I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right, the last couple of seasons. And he loved Coach Miles. He said, I'm telling you, the whole team loved Miles. All the outside noise with Miles was dumb. He said that everybody loved Miles. That prepared every NFL player, he said, I talked to, always talked about they were prepared for the NFL because of the Miles camps. He says the Les Miles camps were way rougher on them than the NFL camps because the NFL would collect a bargaining agreement, don't do the 2-a-days and all that stuff like they used to. So he said, man, Miles' camps were tough, but that helped me propel. I wish it had helped him mentally to prepare because obviously he messed up and he got injured and he messed up. He's been out of the league, 6 years now. So he was a very talented running back. And obviously was not going to get back, but he praised Les Miles yesterday, and I've heard a lot of players praise Les Miles as well. I think Brian Kelly and Kim Mulkey is going to retire before we want them to. I really do, because of the landscape. They're old school, like I am, and if they don't fix this landscape of college sports, I think Les Miles, and it could be as early as next year, Les Miles says, I'm done. Les Miles, listen to me, Brian Kelly. That Brian Kelly could say, I'm done, because we can't continue to do this. When you're getting transfer portals that are coming in, they have no continuity with each other. So they better get the system like that. If they don't expect them to be undefeated like the 2019 team. You got to play together and be around each other a long time. So if I'm Brian Kelly, I'm making sure the team is spending so much time together. He had a crawfish bowl at his house the other day. I'm making sure we spend so much time together it's not even funny. I want you guys to know everything about it. Remember, what was it, Hoosiers? Gene Hackman's character said, I want you to tell me what gum he's chewing. And that's the same thing with a lot of these coaches. I want to know what your teammate, your roommate, I want to know what he's thinking right now. And if they're smart, what I would do, and if you don't get done, they put teammates together, I'd put the 2 safeties together right there, the 2 new safeties together. I'd put them in, Hawley and Cooley. I'd put them together right now. That'd be the 2 people that are roomed up together. And not only at home here at LSU, but on the road. Right now, it just announced that I forgot what NFL coaches just moved lockers around. I think it's in Dallas, where the lockers have moved around. It's a purpose for it. They want the team captain for the offense and the team captain for the defense by each other. It used to be the old days, we're going to put wide receivers here, we're going to put offensive linemen there, we're going to put quarterbacks there, wide receivers here, and what have you. Right now, there's coaches that are saying, I want to put the guys that are closest together to where I need them to be in so much continuity, it's not even funny. They have to finish each other's sentences. I want them to know each other that well. And that's the way it's going right now. And I think Kim Mulkey says the only way that that's what Nick Saban said, that when I will get out of college, what makes me retire is when I'm not influencing young athletes anymore, when they're not listening to me. But at the same time, she says, this NIL and transfer portal thing is tough. It's tough, man. That means you have to do more work. Your staff has to do more work. You're trying to get money from the university to build a bigger staff, like a general manager and their staff, and then you got to put money to your assistant coaches, and now you got to get money for players. And you got travel budgets to do, and you got all of that. I'm telling you, it's a year-round stuff. It's year-round. It's very tough. And I think there's going to be tremendous pressure on Brian Kelly if Brian Kelly doesn't get not only to the playoffs, but deep into the playoffs this year. Not only because now he's going to be in a year where he should be good, but also the number 1 transfer portal and a top 5, recruiting class. They're loaded with players. And either this year or next year, they could be a national championship team. I would think it would be this year with Nussmeier being a senior quarterback with a lot of experience and a lot of upside. This guy, if he worked good on the offseason, Nussmeier is going to be a hell of a player this year. He really is going to be a good player. He's got a hell of an arm. He's just got to get the ball right on the money and not take as many chances. If he can get that in his head, because it's not just athletic form and ability or anything like that. It's all what's here, too. And as a quarterback, you're the number one guy who's supposed to think that way. That's why Jamarcus Russell didn't make it long in the National Football League, and that's why he won a national championship here at LSU. You have to be the leader, and you have to think things out. You have to problem solve just like that. When we come back, we are talking some other sports like LSU softball, Southern baseball, and a whole lot more when we come back as we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, Jonathan in the house, all right here on Talking Sports with Chris Powers right here on Pelican Sports TV.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars.
All right, welcome everybody as we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV. Seen 5 times every week. We're also seeing almost 2 million households in the South Louisiana area, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Morgan City, also parts of Livingston Parish. You can download the app, and also you can check us out on YouTube as well. It goes pretty quick up on the YouTube page. LSU softball playing in the SEC tournament this week. They play, this show is being taped on Tuesday, so they play tomorrow, Wednesday, against Mississippi State. They come in as the 9th seed. Mississippi State is the 8th seed. And they've lost 1 out-of-conference game. That's it. 1 out-of-conference game. That's it. They have dominated the SEC. No question about that. I mean, they've dominated outside the SEC, but in the SEC, they've struggled. I guess just like baseball, they've struggled. And softball and baseball, SECs are unbelievable. So if they beat Mississippi State tomorrow, on Thursday, they play number 1 Oklahoma. And I told a friend of mine that Oklahoma's not going to run the gauntlet again when they get in the SEC, and it's being true even though it's still number 1. But they've lost, I think, 7 games total. And that means they have not dominated the SEC like everybody thought they would. In fact, they went to Florida this week, and Florida beat them 2 out of 3 times. They won Oklahoma won the first game in 10 innings, but Florida wins games 2 and 3, and they win that series. So now we wait for the SEC tournament. The Tigers are 4th in the RPI, so there's a very good chance that LSU, even if they're one and done in the tournament, there's a very good chance LSU ladies softball is going to host a super regional this year because of the 4th place. That's something Beth Torina is like LSU football. She's not afraid to play outside of the conference. She knows we got a tough conference games coming up, but playing outside the conference, she'll schedule some of the top teams in the country playing every single year, UCLA's and what have you. They'll do it, and they won that UCLA game this year. So it's a good chance the Lady Tigers softball team will host a super regional. Southern baseball has won 6 in a row. They're still in 8th place in the SWAC, but only by a game and a half behind Prairie View A&M for that 7th spot. They have a 4-game lead over a Prairie View A&M, I should say. It's a UAPB. They're 1.5 games behind UAPB at 7. Their 4-game lead over Prairie View A&M. So with 6 games left to play, and their midweek game, which was supposed to be today against McNeese State, also has been canceled because of the weather. So with that being said, Southern has won 6 in a row, looking good to be that 8th place spot. They can wrap up the 8th seed this weekend. If they win or sweep their opponent, they could possibly very well win out. They play Alabama A&M this weekend, and then they play Jackson State to close out the season. So if they can beat Alabama A&M and sweep them too, then Southern will at least have the 8th place spot, and 8 teams play in the SWAC tournament, which is coming up this month. In fact, just a couple of days. Again, they have 2 series left too, 6 games left, A&M and Jackson State. So right now, Southern in the 8th place spot, looking like they could very well be in that 8th place spot. Maybe get to the 7th spot, maybe. We'll have to see. NFL schedule will be released on May 14th. Right now, as of now, we don't know, and I think we would know by now. We do know the home teams that are going to be the host teams for, say, in all of the overseas games. The Saints are not one of them. Now, they could be an opponent from one of those games, but I think that we would already know if the Saints are going overseas. It'll be what is it, next week? May 14th is going to be out. I think that's next week. It'll be announced where everybody's going. It will be next week. So we'll find out the full schedule for the NFL and the New Orleans Saints coming up. Greg Popovich, NBA, has officially retired from coaching because of his health concerns. He barely made it to the podium yesterday in the press conference. Jonathan, what are your thoughts of Greg Popovich?
One of the greatest to ever do it. What a dynasty the Spurs were at one time. He had great eye for talent, especially international. He was able to make a lot of different personalities work together throughout a number of years, and they always had a core there, but they would shuffle in pieces. And a man's man was a leader of men, was able to develop one of the best big men of all time, and Tim Duncan. Lots of talent, superstars, Hall of Famers all played under him, had a bunch of championships, one of the greatest to ever do it. Coached the USA team a bunch of times, Coach K from the college. So, sorry to see the state he's in with his health, but happy the Spurs are going to keep him around, let him have some type of admin job. But, it's a passage of time, huh, Chris? Coach Popovich stepping down. It's the end of an era. The Spurs, one of the best dynasties of my lifetime, and they were a joy to watch.
Yeah, the only problem I think that this guy's not being talked more about is because of his politics.
Yep.
Stay out of politics and just do your job. And if you want to talk politics to your buddies, that's one thing. But when you come in and you bring it in the sport, that's a problem. And I think that's why nobody's going crazy that Greg Popovich is retiring. Like you said, he's won 5 NBA championships at San Antonio. And he's had 2 straight Rookies of the Year, not just him, but the general manager and all the staff. 2 straight Rookies of the Year this year and last year. So they've got a good team coming up, and there's no question he's a good coach, even though he hadn't been that way the last few years. But the same thing with LeBron James. That's why people loved Michael Jordan, Larry Bird. They didn't make comments like that. They kept shut up and played the game.
Right.
They didn't make political comments. So that's why when LeBron James retires, I think some people will be obviously sad and they'll be, wanting to celebrate his career. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that don't like his political comments. He forced it down our throats. And that comes from everybody, white and black people. Greg Popovich, again, was a jerk. I mean, I could have not covered him. Because, you've seen these games where they have the reporter there, and you can see how he is. No. I mean, well, come on, man. Stop being a jerk, would you? And all of his press conferences and what have you, he's a mean guy. But he's a good coach. I'll give it to him, and I'll give credit to him. But as far as the guy and always forcing politics down people's throats and then also being a jerk, bye. Bye, Felicia. That's all I got to say. Goodbye. And like I said, 5 NBA championships and had great talent. There's no question. Speaking of the NBA, both the Celtics and the Thunder, number 1 seeds in the NBA in the East and West, got beat last night in their first games of their series. How about this? The Celtics had a 20-point lead to the Knickerbockers, and the Knicks came back, and this was at home in Boston. And the Knicks came back and won. And a 3-point shot at the end, the general manager-less and coach-less Nuggets beat the Thunder last night. I had to rub it into my friend Gary big time. Jonathan, I don't know if you watch a lot of the NBA. Were you shocked by that last night?
I watched the end of the Boston game, but yeah, I thought it was more than 20 points that the Knicks came back from. And
I think it was 26.
I'll say this: Steph Curry has changed the NBA forever. I believe Jason Tatum, who's one of the best interior shooting guards in the game, the guy's an all-world talent. Took 15 threes last night, Chris. Didn't make a whole lot of them. I think the Celtics actually missed 40 three-pointers in the game. So yeah, that was exciting. Caught the very beginning of Oklahoma City game. Chet Holmgren, whatever his name is, and the Joker was squaring off. So get a little bit chippy coming down the court. So yeah, I think Oklahoma City is what the Pelicans should have been. They absolutely knocked their draft picks out of the park and developed young talent and built pieces around those young players they drafted. And I like what they're doing, but yeah, I was kind of surprised to see him lose last night.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the only NBA I can watch, the playoffs, when he gets down to the really end. Second round, truly. Wasn't sad to see LeBron's Lakers lose.
No.
And will he retire? Will he won't? Let's just keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah. You see what I mean? Popovich and him too. I'm just not a LeBron James guy at all. And I've had people tell me, friends of mine, even who were black, and tell me, man, I'm just sick and tired of him shoving his political views down our throats. I'm tired of it. Whether you agree with him or not, I mean, just sick of it. And I agree with that 100%. Speaking of basketball, the University of Florida last night awarded a new 6-year, $40.5 million extension to Jonathan, to their head coach, Todd Golden. And well-deserved. And, I've had so many people tell me that they've had radio guys in this Baton Rouge area that says Florida don't spend money on athletics. What? That shows you wrong. And they spend as much money as everybody else does in football and facility-wise in some cases. I mean, they're just building a nice football facility now. They should have done it a long time ago. But they're paying their coaches pretty good money. But this goes to show you they're paying a lot of money to this guy, Golden, who just won a national championship, their third overall national title in the school's history. 6-year, $40.5 million deal. So interesting. Saints fans still hate Derek Carr. Jonathan, I saw some comments from Saints fans last week. You're not going to believe this. On Instagram, some Saints fans, when Derek Carr came out and said he and his wife had a miscarriage, and one of the Saints fans came back and, well, he deserves it. He got what he deserves. Are you kidding me? I wish that Saints fan would walk off the face of the earth. Bye. Sell your season tickets, burn all of your crap, because that's disgusting what you just said. That is disgusting. They just lost their baby, and that is sick for you to say something like that. There's still people that don't like Derek Carr at all. The day they were coming down, or about the couple of days they were coming down, is that when they found out she was having problems, he brought her to the ER, and they didn't even know she was pregnant. And they just said, you had a miscarriage. And they're like, well, are you kidding me? And Saints fans are still not wanting Derek Carr. So you know what I wish? Derek Carr, have fun somewhere else. Obviously, the city of New Orleans, what Drew Brees said, if you love this city, it'll love you back, does not go for Derek Carr. It doesn't go for him. We'll catch you next week with Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers. Until then, have a great week, everybody. Catch you later.
Rocks and fires. Tommy White with it. Johnson heads to the